Happy New Year!
This is who?
Brian?
And who else?
I don't sing, I'm embarrassed. I just said Happy New Year.
Okay, that's my son. Hold on one second. We're gonna, I got a phone call, and we're gonna play the remainder of this. And got Brian on the line. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Thanks for calling in. I also just had a little person in the studio with me, 5 years old, and so it's kind of chaotic. But I know you know about that stuff. So, but
yeah.
But again, thanks for taking the time to share with us. We got about 20 minutes to share with our relatives, and I just really wanted to focus on, this is the new year coming up in January, and all the things that has been happening in and around the Salish Sea area, but bringing it home to help with, protect our watersheds and some of the things that the affiliated tribes in the Northwest are asking of us. And I saw the document. I haven't printed it out yet. There was a report that you guys did, and it had about the coal, no coal trains and the things in Lummi. So I just wanted to first have you introduce yourself, and we can go from there. Thanks.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on tonight. My name is Brian Cladoosby. I'm the chairman of the Swinomish Tribe. It's located about an hour north of Seattle, about an hour south of the Canadian border, right on the Salish Sea.
All right, and so can we talk a little bit about some of the initiatives, like how we could be better stewards here in our backyard?
Sure. As many people know, there was a time in our history when our elders, our ancestors, had this great, strong spiritual connection with nature, and they didn't feel that they were that they owned the resource or any living and non-living things. They felt that they were part of the fabric of life, and that when you impact one area, it has an impact on you. And so it was a great time when our elders had that strong spiritual connection. And as many people know, it takes 2 generations to break a cycle, and so that just about occurred in our homeland here, where our people kind of like, because of the assimilation policies and other things, we kind of like started getting away from that, protecting the resources as God has chose us to do. And so it got to the point where we, I believe, didn't have that strong spiritual connection that our elders did. But I see going into the 21st century where our people are starting to, and the flame was kept alive by a handful of elders who knew the importance of protecting the natural resources in the Salish Sea. And so I thank God for those individuals that had that strong sense of, being, strong environmentalists. And, a lot of people think that, being an environmentalist is a bad thing, but, each and every one of us live in the most beautiful place that God has created here in the Salish Sea. And when we start destroying it, it impacts everybody's quality of life. So we, about 5 or 6 years ago, took the initiative with our brothers and sisters in Canada and created the Coast Salish Gathering to try to bring awareness to the issues that are affecting the Salish Sea. And through that initiative, We were the first ones to bring together 6 governments to address the issue of environmental degradation that has been occurring in the last 100 years in the Salish Sea, and those are the governments from Ottawa, the federal side of Canada, and BC, the provincial government, and the First Nations in Canada. And on the United States side, we got officials from EPA from DC, and we got state officials from Washington State, from the Department of Ecology, and we got the tribe. So you had 6 representative governments at the table starting to look at the issues that are surrounding the cleaning up of the Salish Sea. And people aren't aware of this, but and we have different, what I call neighborhoods of the Salish Sea. We have the Puget Sound, we have the Straits, we have the San Juan Islands, we have the Strait of Georgia, and so those areas, and what people don't understand is pollution does not recognize boundaries. And so in the Puget Sound area, for example, it is estimated that there's 900 million tons of pollutants that are entering into the Salish Sea just from the Puget Sound area, and the estimates say that it's going to take at least 5 centuries to clean that up. And so we've got a big task ahead of us, and that doesn't even include the other areas where there is pollution entering the Salish Sea, and that has a serious impact on everybody's quality of life. And so, we are taking the initiative to try to bring awareness to the fact that we have to, number one, create common water quality standards in Canada and the U.S. That was one of our big initiatives this year when we gathered for a Coast Salish gathering, to try to bring awareness to the governments on the U.S. and Canada side that we do need at least to start with common water quality standards. So we're starting from a starting point that the U.S. and the Canada recognizes that water quality is needed for everybody, and so that was one of the big initiatives that we wanted to push this year.
Yeah, I was thinking about you're saying that for the last 11 years for myself, going and witnessing how the tribes here at the Governor's Office of Indian Affairs, they have the Centennial Court, and how you're always a strong voice there, but there's how the tribes are working together to create these places where we can all help, creating the no boundaries. So all of us, we live here, and we need to work together to clean this up. And so that's where I'm thinking of how, like, you guys are a great example of how we need to work in the world.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a team effort, and we need everybody at the table recognizing that, not one government, not one tribe, not one individual can do this. We do not live on an island here, and we're not, surrounded by high walls where nobody can get in, each and every one of us. And it is a team effort. And when I mean a team effort, not only the governments, but we have to work with those industries that are polluting the Salish Sea also, because there was a time when people took the Salish Sea for granted, and that, the last 50 to 100 years, that they would be able to continue to do business as usual, and they'd be able to continue to pollute the Salish Sea at will. But thank God this is the 21st century, and people realize that the policies that we had in place in the 20th century just will not work in the 21st century. And so we have to work with the industry also to try to change their mindset, that they have to change the way they're doing business. And I think that is going to be probably one of the hardest things to do, because, of course, they say that business creates jobs, and if we limit business in the way that they continue, what they do over the years, that we limit what they do, that we're going to be destroying businesses. But, it's a balancing act where you have to at least do something to, try to turn the tide, because if we look back on the 20th century, and if our grandkids and great-grandkids look back on the 20th century and they give us a grade on how well we took care of the Salish Sea, it's probably safe to say that we'd get an F or a D minus for the way we've taken care of the Salish Sea. So it's in this 21st century, we as leaders have to make a strong stand and work with other governments and industries to say, look, business as usual cannot continue to happen in the next 10, 15, 20, 50 years from now.
Yeah, the Squally Delta is a great, to look at to see the success of how to work together and how to change the minds of the business owners. I believe that was Wilcox Farms, and they moved the cows and the chickens, and they were able to take back a lot of the Delta area and help cleaning it up. And so I think that we can do it together. That was what you're saying, and I don't want to have an F, and I want to, I have children and one day hope to have grandchildren, and I want them to be able to see the same things that we are able to see, the orcas and the eagles and all the wildlife that's around us. I mean, all the elders that I've been fortunate to talk to, they always talk about a time when, they could walk on the backs of the salmon, and this place was heaven, and I want to help bring that back. Yeah,
I just always like to dream about what it must have been like in 1854 or 1850, before we signed the Point Elliott Treaty. And people think that was a long, long time ago, but if they want to truly put it into perspective from our point of view, right now my dad is celebrating his 80th year of life this year, and this last fall season, silver season, he was out there on the Skagit River with my 64-year-old uncle, who was his deckhand, and they were picking net by hand on the Skagit River, harvesting coho that he brought home and canned for the winter. And I've got grandkids, so he's a great-grandfather. He's alive right now to be able to enjoy his great-grandchildren. And so when you think about that, that's, 4 generations right there. Oh. And my dad, his Indian name is Kel-Kaltsoot. And his great-grandfather was the one that signed the Point Elliott Tribe in 1855. And so when you think about it in that terms, that wasn't that long ago. He's a great-grandfather to my grandchildren, and it was his great-grandfather in 1855 that signed the Point Elliott Treaty for a tribe. And so, when you put it into that perspective, it wasn't that long ago, and it must have been an amazing time when, my dad's great-grandfather was alive, and to be able to witness pretty much an environment that was pretty much virgin to any pollution or any, clear cutting or any habitat destruction. It must have been an amazing time back then to witness that.
Yeah, thinking about it as you're talking, I could just see all the canopy of trees everywhere, and salmon and people and the chaputs, the canoes, and I had a friend that I didn't get to be on the floor when you spoke at the canoe journey when I was up in Swinomish, and but they were talking about how you were saying that the canoe journeys and the resurgence, because it's the largest resurgence of indigenous culture across the planet right now, is the canoe way, and that the culture wasn't dead; it was just sleeping. And when those canoes hit the water, boom, and I think that you're absolutely right that that prayer is come full circle.
And when I think about our brothers and sisters in Canada, I think about the terrible treatment that they had to endure, same as us. But the big difference between our brothers and sisters over there is that they don't have the same rights that should be afforded to them. Right now, we have the Idle No More initiative that is taking place all across the world, basically. And so the Swinomish Tribe, we work hand in hand with a lot of our sister tribes in Canada and purchasing salmon from them. And Bella Bella, for example, they have a hatchery up there at Bella Bella, and we're working with the Bella Bella tribe right now. And they have a hatchery where they produce all of the fish, but they only get a handful when it comes back, and the non-Indians just sit outside their hatchery and harvest all that fish just because of the policies, the backwards policies that they have in Canada towards the natives. At one time they owned 100% of the resource. Well, they didn't own it. They were stewards of that resource. And, we need to, let people become aware of the treatment that our brothers and sisters are getting in Canada at the hands of the Canadian government. And so, this initiative that we have with the Coast Salish gathering, working with them and, being able to let them see, what it's like to work true government to government with, President Obama 4 years in a row meeting with us. I think that's, the same courtesy needs to be shown with the Prime Minister in Canada meeting with the First Nations tribes up there.
Yeah, exactly. And we just spoke with Chief Theresa Spence, and she was talking about how that they have to move. The Prime Minister, for some reason, is in fear, and they're coming. They just love, and they don't want the children to carry any of that stuff anymore. That the negativity that they've already done, and they're coming with an open heart and love in their heart, and for some reason he's not willing to speak to her.
Yeah, well, I think there'll be enough pressure put on the Prime Minister, and he'll make the right decision. A lot of prayers are being said on behalf of the chief up there, and a lot of prayers are being said for the leadership of the Prime Minister and his cabinet and their group up there. So the Creator will answer the prayers, and they'll do the right thing at the end of the day before something bad happens to the chief up there.
Yes. And I know that in my heart too. That and that was the other thing that we were talking about. How the for me, I like to say the original people that were across Turtle Island, the first people, they are always inclusive. They've always, the prayers always have been about everyone. And so it's good to hear what your words about sending prayers to the Prime Minister. And I know when George Bush was in office, and for myself, I didn't really like him, but I put his picture on my altar and prayed to him that he would make good decisions, and I didn't ever say anything bad, just good. That we need to work together as a people on the planet and start doing the right things. And for myself, being here and being a visitor here, this part of Turtle Island, I want to do the right thing with the water, the Walsh, the Salish Sea, and work towards being a better steward myself. And your sharing is helping that. And so I just I wanted to kind of just put that out there for myself to say thank you for including all of our relatives here, and sharing, because I've been following what you guys and what you guys have been doing since I've been here, and we've always done prayers down at the Bus Chetwood down in downtown, where they call Heritage Park, but we're trying to bring back restoring the name Bus Chetwood into that area, and because that's one of the dirtiest spots in the sea, is right in that area. And I know Squatson has an amazing plan to help clean that up, and we want to be a part of that. Myself and many others that I know that want to be a part of the restoring.
Yeah, well, this is definitely not our grandparents' generation or our parents' generation. This is a different time. The Creator has blessed our tribes in the Salish Sea, starting in this 21st century, and we have to, do what is right, not only for our people but for the environment. And moving forward, when we talk about praying for others, I got a strong belief in. We got to kill them all, and what I mean by that is we got to kill them with kindness. We got to heap coals on their head and we got to pray for them and let them know we're praying for them. And it's instead of bringing in a hammer, bring a prayer, light a candle, and just let them know that they have the power to do the right thing, and we're praying that they do the right thing at the end of the day.
Yes. Oh, and I don't know. That makes my heart happy, and my just to know that and share that with our relatives tonight. Coming into January 2013, it's I'm 45, and for myself, I've lived too long without an Indigenous viewpoint, and I'm really thankful that the Creator is we're coming full circle, and that the Indigenous viewpoint is leading the way to happiness for all people, and knowing that for myself that it's an amazing time to be alive and to be a witness.
Yeah, the 21st century is showing people that tribes are very powerful, especially when we work together. But with great power, comes great responsibility, and we just have to recognize that we're not doing this for ourselves to build ourselves up. We're doing this to make sure that the seventh generation has a better place here on Turtle Island than what we inherited. Yes. And so, going forward, from this standpoint, we just have to make sure that we protect our treaty rights, that we protect our sovereignty, that we protect our homeland, and that we make sure that when anybody is out there breaking the law when it comes to degrading the environment, that we have to use the non-Indians' tools. We live in two worlds now. We can never, ever, ever lose our culture. We can never, ever forget our culture. We live in two worlds. We have a community, we have a family that we have to protect, but we also have an environment outside of the exterior boundaries of our reservations, and that even goes beyond, the state borders and the international borders, and we just have to make sure that when people are breaking the law when it comes to degrading our environment, we have to use the non-Indians' tools. We have to use their courts. We have to use their systems, and and it has an impact on everybody. And people think that we're just doing this to protect the environment for ourselves. No, we're doing this to protect the environment for all tribal and non-tribal individuals living in our area.
Absolutely, and I can hear Uncle Billy always talking about how, there's more population moving in, and we have to continue to educate. So we do have this for everyone, for all of us to enjoy, and to keep doing that work, and what you said, being kind, doing it with kindness and an open heart and a prayer. Because I heard him. He said, "We're out there in the Delta, and that's our prayer. That's what we're doing. We're putting it together. That's our prayer." And so it's important for us to be reminded. Your words are reminding us that we have a lot of work to do, but we can do it together. And I do appreciate you taking your time and sharing with us. We got about 6 more minutes. I just was wondering, I always ask my guests if there's something that we haven't shared, if there's something on your heart that you want to share with our relatives. I would love to hear that. And again, really thank you so much for all you do for all of us and the people, and for our waterways and the salmon. And again, thanks.
You bet. Thanks for letting me on, and I think I about said as much as I could tonight.
All right, and
okay.
All right, and so I guess I'll play the Swinomish Canoe Family. How about the friendship song?
There you go. All right. God bless.
God bless, and take care. Thanks, Brian.
Have a happy New Year.
You too. Hope that we see you out there.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. And this is Make No Bones About It. This is been a filled night, and that was Brian Cladoosby from the Swinomish Tribe, and thank you for his words. And there's a lot going on Turtle Island, and it's just amazing to me to watch the unity. It is time. It's time. And I'm going to play this friendship song here, and Thanks for listening. This is Raven Redbow.
The following talk was given by Billy Frank.
Yeah, this is Make No Bones About It. This is Raven Redbone, and just wanted to say I got a couple more minutes. Just thank you to both my guests this evening. Finished the 2012 show Make No Bones About It here at KAOS Radio 89.3 FM, and Chief Theresa Spence calling in. sharing with us. I'll rebroadcast it a little later this evening on Facebook. And again, thank you, Brian Cladoosby, for calling in and sharing with us. So important for all of us to know what to do in our backyard, and I just thankful for the tribes and all that they continue to do for all of us to have a better life here in the Wolosh area. And it's about the healing, and it's about time, and thank you for all you do. Thank you for listening. Everyone have a happy new year.